we're just on this massive screen staring at his beard.
Blue BMW with cognac interiors.
So creepy, so scary.
No, it's Asia. Wait.
That's a tote bag. I'm gonna hate my life.
We never went to the air store.
I just lied. Hello.
Hello. Welcome back to Not Quite Nerds.
Not Quite Cool Kids.
I am Jay.
And I'm TJ.
And this is episode 2 of the Little Potty Pod.
Season 2, y'all. Season baby.
Yeah,
season
boy.
baby. A season baby.
A season baby. Yeah, we got some fun stuff for you guys today. I thought I would do a quick little outline of what we might talk about.
We're going to talk about concerts.
Yes. That
Taylor
we've
Swift,
been to.
Jonas Brothers.
Yes.
Recently.
And some ReesaTeesa tea.
ReesaTeesa's. Reese's Pieces.
We're going to chat about ReesaTeesa because he hasn't heard about it.
We're going to talk about Avatar as promised from last episode. And we're going to talk about probably some other stuff.
And D&D.
And D&D. Worlds Beyond Number.
Always D&D. So, yeah, if you're new here, this is our podcast. We also have a reaction series that's happening right now on the YouTube channel. We are reacting to Dropout's show, Dimension 20, Fantasy High. Junior year. So if you're watching this on YouTube, we have a playlist. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Music, visit the YouTube channel and check it out if you're into D&D.
Linkie-Dinkies are in the bios of the things.
Yes, please have a look. And also say hello in the comments.
Great to see you.
I thought we could start with a chit chat about D&D and our current favorite show. Current other favorite show.
We've got a lot of favorite shows.
Got a lot of D&D favorite shows.
Well, also, this is the first time I guess we've talked about like podcasts.
True. We haven't
on
really
a podcast.
we've mentioned the show, but we haven't like really
talked about
gone into it.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about is Worlds Beyond Number, which is who's it by? Tell us, TJ. Tell us.
So Worlds Beyond Number is a podcast that is led by all 4 people. So Lou Wilson, Abria Iyengar, Erica Ishii, and Brennan Lee Mulligan. And together, the 4 of them have united to make an amazing podcast that is like probably for... I kind of view it as like a story that can continue on. Obviously, especially for Abria and Brennan, who do Dimension 20, and obviously Abria does a lot of other stuff. But like they kind of do these short stories, really. Like we get second seasons or third seasons of things, but most of the time we're kind of telling isolated stories that might not ever get elaborated on. So I love the idea that they've been able to kind of branch out and like actually build out a world and kind of like really invest into it. And it's so freaking good.
It's
just so good.
So yeah, like if you're in the D&D world and you're watching stuff online and stuff, I find it hard to imagine that you wouldn't know any of those names. So you can go look them up. No, there'll be a link to the thing in the description. But yeah, it's like a project that they have together that they kind of plan to run for many years. And they've already done like a side mini series outside of the main campaign that is like a different universe, is run by Erica, and all this. And so yeah, like the production quality has just been so good. Okay, so why are we even bringing it up? It's because
I was behind.
Yeah.
That's why we're bringing it up, because I was behind, and I actually just I didn't know the second season had come out until Brennan had announced his pregnancy, and then I was like, oh, they must be coming back. And then you're like, no, bro, we're like 6 episodes into like the new episodes. And so I pretty much binged in like 3 days all of them. And I was just like, I've liked the first half of the episode so far, like really liked it. But I think this second season, going to the wizard city, like I think just seeing Brennan really like build out a specific space, because I think in the story we kind of like go to these different places in the first half, but it's kind of like we kind of know that these are stops along the way. But this one, it's like almost like outside of it. Like we need to come here, but just it was so freaking good. The sound quality, I honestly feel like I'm listening to an audiobook more than I'm listening to D&D.
Yes. And I was going to say, that was kind of like on my notes to say that someone had made a commentary pretty much saying that this feels like old school radio shows where
Yeah.
where like you hardly, like, I struggle to think of the moments where the dice roll is a key part. Sorry, what I mean is, like, if we compare it to Dimension 20, there's so many, like, or remember that Nat 20 that you know Zach did or whatever. For this one, they definitely roll. They definitely get Nat 20s and stuff like that.
They definitely,
And
you hear Brendan asking and
yeah,
other
they're
people
asking for
calling it.
checks, but there's something about the way that the story is being told that it's very like character led, and I often listen to it in the car. So I will usually consume an episode across multiple days because I like listening to it in the car, and it's just and it's been kind of deadly for me because you haven't kept up. That I'm like,
Bottling all of it up.
yeah, because I'm like, I'll there will be a moment. I mean, I can't even think of the moments now, but there'll be some moments where I'm like, dang, these people.
It's just it's so good. Like going down to the night markets and just the way Brendan explains that space is just, it's so like, I see the movie in my head and I have fantasy. Like I can't even see it, you know, and it's such. I've been telling my mum to listen to it because my mum loves fantasy, and she's a big fantasy reader, but she doesn't really listen to audiobooks. And I'm like, you have to listen to it. And every time I'm like with her, I'm like, have you listened to the next episode? Because she's listened to episode 1, and she was like, so did they ever go and see like the bear guy again? I'm like, just watch the next episode, bro. It literally starts with him. But it's so good. But every time I'm like, have you listened to it? She's like, no, I haven't listened to it. And I'm like, if you don't listen to it soon, I'm going to tell you everything. And she doesn't like spoilers. But But I'm bottling
Like,
it. And
I
then
want to talk to you
actually,
about
I did this to Jay, so I can't get angry at her. But yeah, it's so good.
It's so good. And massive props to the players because especially like in the first arc, I found myself going to Reddit to be like, is everyone as annoyed with Abria's character as I am? Like, I don't post, but I'm like, okay, what are people saying about Suvi is the name of her character? And I'm glad that I did that because I knew that I was like, these are amazing actors and talents that I was like, I have to trust, right? But I'm like, man, as a listener, it's like, oh, why are you making those decisions? Like, why are you doing that? It's
like, I'm so angry and also so like impressed. By Abria, like simultaneously.
And
it's like,
like,
oh, she's so good.
Yeah, just knowing like that how intentional Abria is with the characters. And I think it might have been Abria that was talking about it, that you know, at either the before or after the episode, to be like, guys, was that all good? Like, please, I love you still. Like, thank you. And what I love is like that it reflects so much like trust on the table. Because they need to be able to trust each other, that it's like, are you okay? Sorry, my dog is doing a weird march. Ruby, come up here.
She's just looking for access to come up.
Come on. I was saying, to me, it just really shows how much trust they have with each other to be able to like make decisions that feel like not metagaming at all.
Yeah.
It's very true to
it's
the
like
characters.
So in character.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely one of the reasons why I like it so much. And like you were saying before, like the D&D aspect of it is so minimal, and that's why I think it also feels so much like more like an audiobook, because very rarely do you get pulled out of the story. Even when rolls are happening, you almost feel more like the bear is rolling the roll rather than Lou is rolling the roll.
Yeah,
you know,
it
feels like the way he's reacting, it's like there's a little bit of Lou shining through, but most of it just feels very immersive. It's very easily immersive experience, and in large part because of the sound design.
Yes.
One of the reasons that I got hooked on the show, like, you know, I liked episode 1, I liked episode 2. The thing that hooked me was the sound design around the guy that came to the house.
Yeah.
To ask to come in.
The man in black.
And I listened to that section that he talks. I'm playing it. I'm going to play it right now.
Old friend of grandmother Wren's, come to pay.
Creepy.
So creepy, so scary. It's just, but it's like, I have I have got more chills listening to this free podcast on my AirPods than going to Dune, like going into this IMAX theater. I feel more immersed in the story. I feel more shocked by it because the sound design is just amazing. I've forgotten what his name is.
Taylor Moore.
Good on ya.
It's like Worlds Beyond Number is produced by.
My favorite part is when he does, and Brennan as everything and everyone else.
Yeah.
Everyone and everything else or something like that. It's so good.
It's so good. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is, how you were saying, like, you pretty much barely think about the mechanics of D&D. You're just focused on the story. But, like, especially in the last few episodes when they have been in the Wizard City, I'm like, how is Brennan taking this from his brain? Like, obviously he's very prepared, but it's like, okay, I want someone to find me some books. And then the books come and he's like, got a full title. He's got contents of the books ready to give them. And the way that he's kind of like
the little ink puddle
the little
guys.
ink people, but no, even the way that he has, like, when he explains the way that wizards work and he goes, oh, these creatures over here are spells that they are like really powerful spells. They're basically 9th level fireballs or whatever it is. And it's like, how do you even...
Yeah, so
like,
good.
You have to know the system so well to be able to kind of... communicate that and pull them apart and turn them into... something that fits so well into the world.
That whole idea of, like, alive spells that once they activate, they're dead.
Yeah.
Is... so crazy. Like, it's just so what like
I'm like so immersed in the story, but I'm also like, freaking Brennan Lee Mulligan.
it is immersive. It's amazing. So this transitions nicely into what I wanted to talk about, which was DesiQuest, which Erika Ishii just went on.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Has just joined, and also Sephi Valentine has been on it.
Cute.
And I've forgotten his name, but he is was a part of the Calamity series with Brendan, the guy with the beard.
Yep.
And DesiQuest is a actual play show on YouTube under, I think it's Effin Funny. I don't know. That's the YouTube channel. And it's run by Jasmine Balhula. Sorry, probably saying that wrong. And then a bunch of other Indian voice actors and actual play artists, which is kind of a career title. Other actual play people, plus some guests that come on. And it's all inspired by Indian culture, Desi culture.
Nice.
And it is so freaking cool because it's that merged with fantasy.
Cool.
And one of the, like, it's also really cool because part of their credits list is Dropout in Dimension 20, which is just like,
why?
I love that. I think maybe producers or something on it.
Cute.
And one of the things about it that I really love is that kind of like, I think it's tied to the kind of world of the show, but kind of classic storytelling in terms of like you're going on a mission. There's people together. Or Reika is also one of the people on it.
Oh yes.
And what they have is there's this thing that pulls them out of the world, and rather than playing a solo, people, everyone else leaving the table, DM and cast member, I guess, go into the separate little room that's just behind the DM screen, which is where they have a little tea kettle, and so they've been like having chai time together, like tea time.
I love it.
And basically, like around the kettle, there's this one like spirit, I guess, that is kind of communicating with them about what's going on the outside. And there's kind of like obviously all of this mystery and secrets happening, but rather than having it on table, it's like the separate table.
Wow.
And
it's
the
a secret.
visual is inside a tea kettle because it's with a gin. How freaking good is that? So it's just like...
Is Jasmine the DM?
Yeah, Jasmine's the DM.
Oh, yeah, you did say that.
So it's
I
just
think
really,
that
really like...
from the side quest that she did for Dimension 20, I feel like... I think that I would really enjoy... I haven't watched that, but I've seen the promo and stuff. But yeah, I feel like I would really enjoy the way that she does her storytelling and how she like plays with mechanics and like... I think she also kind of mixes systems a little bit.
Yeah. She's also very... I've noticed over the course of watching the series, she's very goblin-y. Like, I find her, like, she's that classic DM, whatever, but sometimes she feels more like a PC playing a lot of people
Oh,
or like
right.
playing the world than feeling like a DM behind the screen.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I really, really like. It feels like, obviously Brendan will join a bit, but the bit ends, but she'll make it keep going, or like she'll just like rough them up a bit, and I really like kind of that style of storytelling. I think obviously like we're seeing more and more styles of storytelling become important in the world of like D&D actual play, like recorded content, but like to see her one and like actually be able to experience it outside of just a short campaign has been so cool, and everyone on the table was so great, and yeah, I just wanted to talk about it because I was like, I feel like not enough people have seen it.
Yeah.
Like they have like good watching, but like I'm like, this in my head, this should
I
be
should
blowing
probably,
up.
this would be a great thing for me to watch because I would normally be watching
Dimension
Dimension 20, but because we're holding off so that we can do our reaction, I could be watching
DesiQuest
DesiQuest.
instead. So I've been
Yes.
watching that. I finished Worlds Beyond Dharma because I'd already started it, and then I've been catching up with DesiQuest as well.
Ruby's
And
face is fully just in my open palm.
oh baby, yeah. So I've been watching those two kind of like together. So last episode, we kept talking about wanting to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender, but then we got to the end and it was already like an hour-long episode, and we're like, let's just save it up.
We just
So
overpromised.
yeah, I haven't been able to see it yet because it doesn't
Reasons.
matter why. But I haven't been able to see it yet. But I'm literally planning to watch it tomorrow. So just sadly, we didn't have enough time to wait to do the podcast afterwards. But yeah, Jay's seen a little bit of it. I've seen some fun stuff around. I've seen some interesting stuff around. So yeah, we just wanted to talk about it.
So it's funny because in the last episode, basically we were just going to talk about what people were expecting going into it, right? Like it hadn't come out yet. Both of us were kind of, I think you were more invested in it. I was kind of just like watching. Obviously I was like curious about it, but and I've watched the whole series, but I'm not like deep in the lore.
Yeah.
But I think you were quite invested in the Avatar
Well, it was
story.
like the first show I remember as a kid that my family like participated in. Like all together,
you watched
we
it
would
as a
like watch it
family.
together. And like my parents would like always comment on how good it was. The funny thing is like it was that and Dora the Explorer. we used to like go to the DVD store and like hire Dora
cute.
the Explorer.
Oh, you were
But,
watching it then as well.
Oh yeah, like when I
Okay,
was
okay.
back in Palmy, like as a kid. Like,
Right.
Yeah, so I grew up with it. It was like the first show that I like remember being like, I need to know what's like coming next. But like it was on TV, you know, so you can't really like. It was like Saturday morning television. So
I think I watched it
you
when
can't
I
really,
was
like-
living in Wellington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would have been because of me because I
I was obviously aware of it, but I'd never really like followed it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I because I rewatched it the year before
Okay,
I moved.
cool.
So I rewatched everything. I really liked it. I remember I used to talk about it a lot with Izzy because she really liked
Oh, cute.
Avatar as well.
Yeah.
And when it got announced that they were going to be on Netflix, we were like really excited.
Yes.
But that was pre this like
The
cancellation
fallout and
fever.
whatever, yeah.
And then also before the original creators left. And then at that point me and Izzy were like, I don't think it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I have an attachment to it, and it's maybe also the reason why I don't want to watch it. Well, I've taken so long to watch the series because I think if I was more confident about getting tattoos, probably have tattoos. Like I have like some of the comics.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, it was like the first thing I cared about, like pre-Marvel.
Yeah.
Like after that, it was like Marvel was the thing that like I really cared about. I cared about the Easter eggs and all that sort of stuff. But like Avatar was like the first thing I was like, oh, so this connects to this.
And it was, I think, like for us now as consumers of like the media and stuff, it was kind of nervous making because a lot of the stuff that was coming out, it was like, oh, like it was
All the red flags.
It was making a lot of people nervous. And
Which is funny because I feel like we haven't had it like that in a long time. Like specifically nervous is a great word to express. Like people always, this is going to be bad. Like they're grumpy about it, but not nervous because it's like I don't know.
Yeah, like
what
they're
this is gonna
trying to
be.
give it a chance, and then like people kept invoking what the original creator said, that whatever it's gonna be, it's not our vision. Which like it makes sense obviously because you're leaving, and it kind of implies that there's creative differences, and that's why.
That was the official statement. Creative differences. From
Yeah.
them,
And but then it came out. You and I had kind of talked about potentially reacting to it, but because of like the feedback, we were like, oh, I don't know if we should react. Let's
also
just watch it and we can discuss it.
Let's discuss instead.
Yeah. So then I decided we would watch it for like after dinner. It was okay. We'll just watch one episode. Like I know people are a bit nervous about it, although my husband Mitchell was like, I don't know, like he's pretty neutral. He's watched the show. He kind of knows a bit about it. I'm like, okay, let's just watch one episode. And if we hate it, then obviously we can always stop. We don't have to commit. Like let's just see how it feels. And then we watch it, and I was like, that's fun.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Okay, good.
And you know this, but like and I don't know if I've mentioned this in the pod, but one of my things is it's like sometimes I will go
Random
away.
question: have you watched The Dark Crystal?
Yes, I have.
So good. Anyway,
So good. Please watch The Dark Crystal. My thing is like either when I'm reading a book or watching a movie or something, I realize, oh, I did like that, because when I walk away from it, I will think about it as if they're my memories. I'll be like, wow, I miss
Cute.
them. Like, I wonder how my friends are doing.
Okay, so that was the first time. So when I rewatched it in 2017,
16 or
it
17.
would have been 16, 17. I finished the series, and it was like the first time I felt like depressed after like a show. Like it was I was like, oh my friends are gone. Like
Yeah.
And I remember going to the office, and Stacey was there, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Did you finish the series?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Are you really okay?" I was like, "I don't know.
My God.
I feel like I've lost my friends, like, and
Yeah.
they've gone away, and like that kind of feeling is like something that I hadn't had before for a property."
Yeah. And for me, I first noticed this when I was reading Harry Potter, because it would be like, say I would have to stop reading in the middle of a scene, and I would be at school and I'd be like nervous all of a sudden, and I was like, oh wait, like they're outside of the chamber, or like they're behind the door and they can't get in, like they're gonna get caught, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, the story doesn't continue unless I keep reading.
Harry Potter is a really great example, especially bringing up that comment from that I can't remember who it was, but there was a girl on TikTok that I think we both talked about, how she said people keep invoking Game of Thrones to gain the Game of Thrones audience.
Yeah, that was
for some
the
reason.
thing that kind of put people off, was saying Game of Thrones in the same sentence as Avatar.
But like,
continue.
why would you not use Harry Potter? I feel like that's a way better example. Like,
True.
obviously, very different world. So probably not easy to.
But probably
associate
similar
together.
demographics.
Yeah, similar demographic, especially because also, like for a lot of people, there is a significant adult audience that comes with Harry Potter more than like children now.
Because they've grown up, and that's
Exactly.
why. So that's why I think like when
Also, a lot of adults loved Harry Potter when those first movies came out as well. It wasn't just like a child audience.
Yeah.
Like
when people, it's because when the Game of Thrones quote came out, or when it was kind of being thrown around as the release of Avatar was approaching, it was sort of like, I can't remember the actual quote, but it was basically like, we don't want it to be too kiddie. We want to attract like the fans of Game of Thrones because they want to attract adults. Because obviously it's a cartoon, so they want to attract adults. But everyone kept saying like,
you don't need to do that.
No, but because the people who watched when the show was coming out are now the adults.
And are invested in the show still.
As it was,
even
yeah.
as it was.
Yeah,
In
but
its square frame. Because it's
but
not.
in saying that, like I was I was walking around the house thinking to myself, being like, was it bad? No. Did it have flaws? Yes. Like to myself, I'm like, this is how I'm gonna present it to TJ, and pretty much that is what I did when I was in the car. I was like, was it bad? No. Did it have flaws? Yes. Was the music good? Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Was the casting good? Yeah. I was actually nervous about the CGI. No one had super talked about it, but people obviously had thrown around like budgets and whatever. I'm like, CGI was great. I think some people were nervous about the costumes and how bright and colorful they are, but I sort of kind of throw my vote in with the people that are saying, hey, it's fantasy, it's meant to be colorful. Like no one said that it had to be like super dark, especially for a kid's show. It had to be bright and whatever and colorful. So I'm like, costumes looked so good. so I was stoked about the costume. CGI again, like, was really good. And then after, I think I might have only seen 2 or 2.5 episodes, and after that I went away and I was like, oh, what happened? And I'm like, oh wait, no, it's the show. So it makes me
What
feel
happened
like
in my life? Wait, no, it's not
yeah,
real.
yeah. So then I'm like, okay, I need to just go back to the show and finish it.
Yeah, it's
So,
really
yeah.
interesting, I think, like, to be in an era of, like, entertainment where it's very 50-50 and majority of content is spin-offs or recreations of prior property. You know, obviously, I would prefer it coming from books because there's a little bit more room for interpretation, you know. I think that it's a little bit hard when you're translating from a visual medium to another visual medium.
Yeah.
And especially because, like, a lot of people prioritize the idea of live action as best, and
Yeah.
in reality, I think
it's
sometimes you can't do that for everything.
production companies do, but
Yeah.
the audience is like, no, just
Well, especially Disney is, like, at the forefront of that, making everything that's animated into live action, and it's like I think that there are properties that work and they'll be interesting, and you can do something good with it. But it's interesting to be in a space where this is normal now. Like, if all of a sudden we were seeing this many adaptations of things, like, even 5 years ago, that would be crazy. And now it's like, oh yeah, of course we would get, you know, obviously, like, we have One Piece and we have, like, and this and, like, Shadow and Bone, and all 3 of those I've been, like, heavily invested in, like, watching. But yeah, it's just really interesting to kind of like see this era of, like, okay, let's just make a live action of
but
everything.
Then what's wild is you probably already saw those announcements where it's like, this year it's gonna be Moana 2 and Toy Story 5, and it's like,
Make
this
a
whole
new
thing.
show.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm kind of sad, and we don't have to go super into it, but, like, I agree when people talk about, like, how sort of gutting it is that, like, Disney used to be known for its storytelling, and now it's only churning out, literally, it feels like just cash grabs. It's like, oh yeah, that was successful, but then everyone's kind of, like, side-eyeing, being like,
Inside Out.
that's
Inside Out.
it feels like you're squeezing something. Like, one thing, it was very popular and you're just squeezing it for the sake of nostalgia and stuff, but people are savvier now. People want fresh stories, like
And I think they've relied on, well, audiences didn't watch Soul, for example, which was an
But did you
original,
know-
but it's like, it's hard because it's like, well, yeah, but we're also in a pandemic, or storytelling has changed, or different things like that. And it's like, they've thrown out the originals as a concept because they need the money. So they're going back to the current IP, I guess.
yeah. But did you see that Moana 2 was supposed to be a TV show?
Like,
Did you know
oh
that?
yeah, and then they've cut it into a film.
Yeah, and then they've had to quickly, like, get all the actors because they weren't even going to be part of the
Yeah.
TV show. It's just,
It's so odd.
anyway,
So
it's
weird.
just, that's a bit of a downer, but
Sorry, that was a sad place
but,
to finish it.
sorry, to circle it back, Avatar was actually good.
All
So
of that bad stuff to say, it was actually good. So
it was actually good. So TJ, watch the show. I think you'll. I
one
think you'll
other
actually
thing
enjoy
that I
it.
wanted to talk about Avatar is Marisha Ray from
Yeah,
Critical
yeah.
Role has been doing a series on Avatar: The Last Airbender, specifically around Katara's adaptation and why she doesn't like it. Well, she hasn't
Ooh.
really had an opinion. She's tried to be like, this is what happens in the series versus what happens in the show. And it's very interesting because I love Katara, but I've not really been, I guess, analytical about the original character. And to see the way that she's talking about it, it's on her Instagram. It's free. I
Please watch
recommend watching it because it made me go, okay, I understand the changes and why they were made. They are not the right changes to tell the same story, but they are a story, I guess. But again, I have not watched the show, so
That's
I
why
guess
I'm
we'll see
saying.
on the next podcast.
Yeah, like go in with an open mind, and I reckon,
I want it to be good.
yeah.
Also, I love the actor that they got for Aang, so I'm pretty happy. Because it could have been bad.
It could have been bad. Good job, everyone. Just a quick outfit change to show you guys. This is the most subtle transition. Hey, do you like my jumper? It says Taylor Swift. Here. Eras Tour. Oh, that says Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
And this says Eras tour. Came back from Melbourne to watch the Eras tour. And it was super cute. My husband and I were there for 10 days.
Her husband is
and
the real fan.
He's the real fan. I have been a fan for many years, but I haven't really followed. I don't know if I've mentioned this here, but yeah, I haven't really followed her like in the last like 2 or 3 albums. Like I was really paying attention around Folklore, Evermore, and then I guess like Midnights. Really, I haven't really had to sit down to be like, oh, this is the newest thing. And we talked about this in the pod, but I was a little bit nervous going into the conference, going into the concert because we were on the floor and I'm quite short, and I was nervous about visibility. And Mitchell did say, he was like, the MCG, the venue, is so big that where I originally wanted to sit, which is basically like the stage but lower bowl, so it's like tiered seating but facing the stage. He's like, because of how big that venue is, that's gonna be way too far. After having gone, I still think I would have wanted that, because I'm gonna start with my down in the dumps thing, so that you have context of why I'm not screaming, crying, throwing up talking about Taylor Swift.
I'm just screaming.
Yeah, I was just I was screaming.
I'm just crying.
I was screaming and crying, because I think I spent a bit of time during the concert like wishing I could see her. Oh no, it was more like, where is she on stage? Like, where is she on the stage? And making sure that I captured her. But I also, we can put in some of the footage. We could, but I want to make a vlog, but I don't have a laptop to edit on, and I'm about to go on holiday. So when I'm ready, I'm going to release a vlog. But here's some footage of us at the concert. So as you can see, I did want to try and capture like more of us being there. Like I really kind of saw going to the Eras tour as like being a part of this massive kind of cultural thing that was happening. And so it was very special. And Mitchell and I had, we did dance. Our first dance was Lover. So it was very cute. I don't think I actually filmed us during Lover because I just wanted to be in the moment. But yeah, it was really cool. I think my biggest thing is being in.
That you're gonna. By the way, you said that you're gonna do a downside, and then you just said that you'd show the footage, and then you moved on.
But no, I said my downside was that I couldn't see.
Sorry,
so I was like, it sounds like.
Now here's some videos.
No, yeah. No, like my downside was like. That's why I'm saying it doesn't sound like I'm like super freaked out that I was there.
Because half the time you were like,
where is she? You know, and oh, I'm gonna say another downside. And if you are watching this and you are going to Taylor Swift concert, I encourage you to not do what I did, where I made a bunch of friendship bracelets, and I'm like, I wish that I had either just dragged Mitchell with me, or it would have been cute to have another like friend there, because and I'm like extra aware that I'm like, I'm freaking 33. I don't want to just like walk around like friendship bracelets. And I thought that people would be more proactive, and then I didn't need to be. But if they would turn to me for bracelets, I'd be like super open. So I wasn't prepared that people weren't as proactive, especially the people around me. So I had a couple people that I was like, oh, are you guys trading? And then we traded. But then I'm like, I don't want to do that every single time. So it's kind of basically I was waiting for people. But if I was prepared, I would have been way more. I would have wanted to walk around. But because I hadn't prepared, I was kind of like, oh no, it's not like
this is not what I planned.
What I expected, yeah. And so I didn't walk around. I got a couple of bracelets, and we met these 2 girls at the tram station, and then they were like, we don't know where we're going. I'm like, just follow us, whatever. And that was very blessed because she gave me Miss Americana and Mitchell Heartbreak Prince.
Aww,
so it was so what we got was actually super cute. And in the tram, because so what was really cute was the tram people and the police that was around and helping manage they had friendship bracelets. And so one of the tram lady was handing out friendship bracelets, and it said I heart trams.
That's so cute.
So I found one in the tram, and I told Mitchell to pick it up, which was also really apt because one of his highlights going to Melbourne was the public transport. So yeah.
Good.
So it was really good. And yeah, I was gonna say a big thing for me also, like kind of the thing that occupied my brain was I'm like, this is 96,000 people and how like we're all so I was kind of more like feeling quite introspective at the concert, being like, wow,
I get to be a part of this.
I'm just one small person, literal small person.
I'm just a grain of sand on the beach.
Yeah, I'm just a drop in the ocean. But it was so cool, man.
I love that.
Obviously, we had Sabrina Carpenter as the opening act. She was super cute. Everyone around me, every time she stopped, everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're so cute." And Taylor was solid. Like, I think that was the other thing, was because when you're watching her and she's performing, it's almost like I'm just watching her on TV. Like, she almost doesn't seem human, where I'm like, her vocals are really steady, that you forget that she's singing live, you know? And her, obviously everything's choreographed and there's some little candid moments. But like, it was like I was watching a show and I'm like, man, this is insane. Like, this is amazing. So I had other things that I was like coming out, I was like very impressed with Melbourne and how they handled the thing. So I was saying this to TJ, because we did catch up before this recording, that I just wish that I had seen more of the stage, because being involved with events and stuff, I would have freaking loved to enjoy that part of the show as well.
The full experience.
Yeah, the full experience. So I am looking. So me and Mitchell have held back on watching the movie, because I was like, one, I didn't want to watch the movie and get to the show and be like, I didn't see the bit.
I've already seen.
So now I'm like, okay, I know what it's like being in the room. Now I can watch the whole thing,
and see what you missed.
And see what I missed.
That's cute.
There's other funny things that happened. I don't know if you want to.
You can talk about everything. I'd love you.
The thing is, when we were there, we found out that Taylor Sheesh
Yeah, that's cute.
was also there. So Taylor Sheesh, Filipino drag queen, when Eras Tour started, Taylor Sheesh was basically filling up malls, or this one specific mall in the Philippines, and basically recreating
all the songs
with the outfits, with the backup dancers, lip syncing. And apparently she was in Tokyo when Taylor was there, and she was in Melbourne.
Cute.
And we went with our friend who was also a fan, was going to the Eras Tour as well. We watched Taylor Sheesh. It was fun, but the production was so funny and a little bit distracting. I don't think I've even shown you, so I'll show you.
You show me some random.
Oh, some random.
Stuff.
Yeah. So it was just kind of funny. Yeah, but it was like, I got to watch Taylor Sheesh. I got to watch Taylor Swift.
Are you not going to tell the story?
Oh, so the actor. So the story.
The whole reason we're here.
The whole reason
the
we're here.
reason why we have this podcast.
Okay.
No, just kidding.
No one say anything, because you're annoying. But Mitchell and I went to the show. We're all dressed up, got my makeup on, sparklies in my hair. Tram is full. We're vibing. We decided we're not going to buy any merch. Okay. We don't want to waste our time in the lines. And we go and we scan our ticket to go in, and it won't scan. And so the truth is, we never went to the Eras Tour.
I just lied.
I just like that whole 10 minutes was just a lie. No, our ticket wouldn't let us in. And then the lady was like, okay, go to that lady over there in green. So we go to the lady in green, and I'm like, hi. And she's like, okay, what happened? Where did you buy your ticket? So immediately she was like, did you guys get scammed? Because we said tickets aren't working. It's like, where did you buy the tickets? And I'm like, oh no, we bought it on the website. And then I'm looking at Mitchell to be like, talk to this lady, because you're holding the tickets. And she's like, what's the date on it? And then Mitchell turns around the phone to me as I see that the date is for the following day.
Taylor Sheesh.
Taylor Sheesh. So that kind of hurt. So it took. So we had to kind of, we're like, okay. We walked out. We're like, I'm so sorry. And the lady said, it's all good. I'm like, cute. How many of these has this lady seen
today?
Yeah. So we head out, and I had to take a moment to just be like, okay, how did we get here?
We didn't miss it.
I was just like, this was my level. I was like, okay, when we installed the tickets onto our Apple wallet? Did we look at the date? So I was just trying to figure out, okay, what happened? What could I have done to prevent it? Like, was it my fault? It wasn't. No,
It was Mitchell.
no. But yeah, it was basically what kind of had happened was when we were trying to buy tickets, we were trying to buy for Saturday. And looking back, we were like, no, it makes sense. It should have been Sunday. But pretty much we had it in our brains that it was Saturday. And for the past like 5 months, yeah, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
So then when I was like, when's our show again? Which is like, it's Saturday. And then because we didn't really worry
So
about.
you're going off more day than off a date? Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. We
Right.
weren't going off a date. We were going off of, yeah, it's going to be Saturday. But actually, thinking about it, we didn't buy our tickets in the original release. We actually got our tickets when they added another show, and that was Sunday. So we got Sunday tickets. And our flights that we bought straight after we got our tickets
Right.
was Tuesday because we knew that our show was on Sunday. So we got the dates wrong. Basically, after 5 months, we just forgot and we were super prepared. In the end, so I just took 5 minutes and I was like, you know what? Lots of silver linings. At least it wasn't the day before. I'm glad that our flight isn't Sunday, which was our show day. And I forgot to put setting spray on my makeup.
So you're all good. 'Cause you didn't have to
So
wait for it to
I didn't
wear
have
off.
to. And then I also because I bought this like glitter eyeshadow and I put it on my thing. But as I was putting on my eyes, I'm like, oh no, I'm deleting all my other colors. So I hated, like not hated, but I was like,
You gotta redo. You gotta reset.
I got to have a redo, which was amazing. I got to redo my hair and whatever. So ended up working out because, we were prepared to be there for 5 hours. Didn't have to be. So we sat. Okay, I took 5 minutes. And then after I said to Mitchell, okay, I want ice cream and I want to buy merch. So we sat in the gardens for a little bit because the merch line was really long.
Ice cream.
Yeah. Also, I didn't end up getting ice cream, but it was fine because we had ice cream a couple of days later. It was amazing. So we got the merch lined up. And as we were lining up, they were like, sorry guys, there's very limited sizes, stuff are running out. So we got this. And it's actually really comfy.
Yeah, it looks really good.
So we managed to get merch, and if we got merch the next day, we probably would not. We might have missed out. And yeah, the show was amazing.
So good.
We got to hear Teardrops on My Guitar live.
Yeah.
So that was actually really cool. So yeah, that was my
all in all, was a success.
So just a little intermission in the middle of our episode. I will be away during Easter, and I saw that all the Easter chocolates have come out. Well, actually, this isn't an Easter chocolate, but I don't know. I don't know what the point is. But we got cream eggs. So this is a moment where I'm just giving you a cream egg, and we're going to have a little cream egg eating moment. What's your favorite thing about Easter, TJ?
Jesus, I guess.
I thought you were going to swear. I thought you were exasperated.
Jesus.
And also, this is my moment to give TJ my BH for him.
Okay, explain BH, please.
BH,
He's so cute. Okay. Explain
TJ
BH,
put the
please.
B-roll on top.
Yeah, I will.
So my family has a thing called, like, when someone goes away and they bring a souvenir, we call it BH, which means bring home. So like dad used to travel a lot for work, and yeah, when he comes back he would bring a BH. So this is my BH for TJ. It's a little pin that I got from Melbourne.
It says which.
It's like a pink. You'll see it on the screen, but if not, it's a pink milk carton. There's a cat on it, and it says which juice.
Oh, which juice?
Yeah.
No, it says juice which.
Oh, juice, and
It's
then
juice up top.
yeah, and then
top.
which. It's really
I love
cute.
it.
Okay, can I tell you the story about it?
Yes.
Okay, we went
please.
into the store, and it was really cute. There were like plushies outside, so I was like, okay, I just need to go into the store. Mitchell was gonna come in. He was in front of me. And then as we were walking, he's like, okay, I'm gonna stay outside. It was just not his flavor of store, and
because it was cute and girly. And
it
fun.
was, well, not girly, but it was very like lots of like fluffy key rings, and there's a lot of like the Jellycat, and I go in and there's a wall of pins, and I'm like, okay, I want to buy every single one of these. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get one for TJ. And I wanted to get one for my sister. And I got one for you, for my sister. And then I was like, okay, I'll get something for my niece. So it's like this cute little thing. So I got her little hair clips. It was really cute. And then as I was walking over to pay, I'm like, how come I don't get one? Maybe I should get one for my sister-in-law and my brother and my mom and my dad and my D&D party. And then I was like, no, it's a slippery slope. So I let go of my gift for my sister, and I just bought one for the baby and for TJ.
Both of her children.
My children. Yeah. So that's it for the intermission. Let's stay in the no.
Do you ever have a cream egg and like after eating it, it's like my brain is on sugar fire?
Yeah, it's quite intense.
It's so intense. Like I feel like my brain is vibrating in my skull.
You just took
and
one bite.
Had, like not even half of it yet.
I saw someone do a tutorial video of how to make chocolate chip cookies, but it's stuffed with a cream egg inside. It's literally like a giant round of dough, and she just folds the dough
like
over the
ball?
cream egg. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Do you get these in the Philippines?
I don't think so. We have Kinder Surprises.
That's not Cadbury though, eh?
True, it's not.
Kinder is Kinder.
Kinder is Kinder. So that is for
Get out of here.
For our intermission. See you in the next bit.
John Broth. John Broth. This is the brand that we've started. It is a broth brand.
We
called
have
John
merch,
Broth.
guys.
No, this actually says Jonas Brothers.
Let's lift it up. Oh, you weren't. Oh no, there's a reveal.
A reveal.
Yeah.
You might be thinking,
Why?
oh, did you also go to Australia for the Jonas Brothers concert? I will tell you right now that is not the case.
That is not the
for
case.
multiple reasons. Number one, I do not have enough money to go to Australia. And number two, because we went to the show in New Zealand, and for some reason, Australia was on all of the merch. We went VIP, which was really, really great. We got to go. Basically, it was just like early access. We had a little room that had food in it, which was good.
Which is funny because I said, guys, the food was free. And someone was like, no, it wasn't. And I was like, it was free. And Mitch is like, babes, you paid extra.
You paid for it.
It wasn't.
It was. There was no added cost.
Yeah.
But it was free after we paid for it. After we paid to get access to it.
Yeah.
So that was really great. We didn't get to meet them or anything, but it meant that we got to stand in a really little line, and we didn't have to get like our bodies crushed by people, or like fend for seats or stuff. So yeah, it was really, really great. It was me and Jay, my sister, and our friend Lisa, who is the biggest fan out of the four of us. We also went with some other friends, Stacey and Teesa, which was fun as well. And part of the package was that we'd get the VIP room, early access, and then a gift. And in the car on the way up, we were talking about like, oh, like what could the gift be? And for some reason I'd had in my head that it was like a candle or like a cupcake that just like had their name on it.
Yeah, just like a random consumable.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is cute. I just was like, oh, it'll be something like that, because I was like, obviously it's not going to be a real gift that's like actual money.
Yeah.
That like
Yeah.
it has to be somewhat cheap.
Yeah.
But then Jay goes, it better not be a freaking tote bag, and I was like, oh my god, please not be a tote bag. So
And even Millie, who's driving, she's like, oh,
if it's a tote bag, I'm gonna hate my life.
So she's like, it's gonna be a freaking tote bag.
Anyway, so we were like crying about that, and then and we all now believe it's probably gonna be a tote bag, and if it's a tote bag, it's gonna suck. Hindsight says it's Jay's fault because she brought it up, and somehow it turned from a nice tote bag into whatever this is.
Like, I wish it was a tote
I wish
bag.
it was a tote bag, because at least I would have used it.
Because
Like,
look, this is the funny thing is we were in the line. The line was so short, and we could see through the door. And Millie, TJ's sister, was pointing and being like, "Oh my god, it's a bag."
it's a bag,
And I feel like a tote bag would have been better.
And also, this is like kind of a towel, but like
It
the
feels like a
top feels like
blanket.
a blanket.
It's actually so thick.
It's quite thick, but also just like the size is not really like a towel.
It's a beach
size.
towel.
It's like a long towel.
I feel like it's something that you
Very
would.
odd. Also, I mean, we also haven't commented. So there's only one show in New Zealand.
Oh,
so
yeah, sorry.
Our theory is that that's why it says Australia, because there's like 6 shows in Australia. So like rather than putting New Zealand on it and it being annoying for all the Australians, it's like, New Zealand doesn't need the name on it, which is annoying because we get it, but fine regardless.
As soon as we walked in and we were given the bags, it was like, why does it say Australia? Why doesn't it even at least say New Zealand? And we were talking about that, so that was kind of funny. But the stupidest thing happened when we were in the VIP lounge and we were talking about the Australia thing. And TJ said, why doesn't it even just say Australasia? And so he said, why does it say Australasia? And I was like, babes, Australasia is Australia and Asia. And then he was like, oh. I was like, yeah, like, what are you talking about?
I was like, I swear, like, I've grown up.
And he's like, isn't it? What'd you say?
26 years in this country, and I swear Australasia is like us, New Zealand, Australia, and the islands. Like, you know,
The
like
Pacific Islands.
But I also didn't have the word, which Stacey pointed out straight after this, that it's a
No, because then I'm like yelling at you basically. I was like, it's Asia and Australia, and then she kind of like hears the last part of it, and then we kind of turn to her.
There's a little pause between us.
Yeah, so Stacey is like, she goes, "Isn't Australasia the continent?" As she's saying this, I'm still trying to argue.
I think she actually said to you, what continent do you think we live on?
No, it was after. She was like, isn't Australia, because she doubted herself. She's like, isn't Australasia the continent? And then I'm like, as she's saying, I'm processing and I'm still arguing. And I'm like, no, it's Asia. Wait.
Wait, no, let it be that, please.
And then I'm like, and I was like, I never thought about that. And she's like, what continent do you think New Zealand is on? And I was like, Australasia, I guess.
So anyway, that was just so funny because I was like, I not that I'm always prone to being wrong. That happens a lot. But like I just was like, yeah, obviously I've just like made this thing up in my head. Obviously it's Australia and Asia, like duh. But then like hindsight, I'm like, I was right.
I know, and I'm like, I'm so dumb. I was so wrong and so loud.
So wrong and so loud.
That was a very funny moment, but the concert was bomb.
The concert was so good. I was saying to Millie, we've been the first concert we ever went to together. Like we'd been to festivals and stuff, but like the concert we'd been to was Taylor Swift. Which,
that we were in together.
Yeah, Reputation. Cute. That was the first one we ever went to. And
insert link to TJ's vlog.
Oh, okay. The thing about that that's funny is like Taylor Swift is a show, right?
Yeah.
So it's not really the best show to go to in the sense like for your first one because your expectations are wildly high. And the next one we went to was 1975, which was like fully like rock band
You said
concert.
wildly high. 1975, also wildly high.
Yes, because they were smoking weed there.
Yeah.
That's what she's referring to. And so like we went to that and it was like it was like a rock concert. Like they're pop rock, but like, you know, like you kind of just everyone's jumping around. It's all mosh. Like majority of the thing was like mosh, and it was the same venue that we went to this time, but this time they were pushed all the way back. It was packed out.
Oh, so the 1979 wasn't full.
It was half show.
Okay, cool.
Half stage
venue. Yeah.
So like they had a full stage and everything, like LEDs or whatever, but it was like just not the whole thing.
Right. Okay.
And it was so freaking good.
So good.
Like it was more, I think, versus something. For example, it was going off against Reputation. For example, I said example like 30 times, I swear. Using that as an example, Jonas Brothers was more like about the music. It was less about like the show. Like they had LEDs and like they did some like little segments because it was kind of an Eras tour, and that they went through all of the Joe Bro albums and different things like that.
It was also a 3-hour show.
Yeah, and it was really, really good. But it was definitely more about the music, like the show side of it, which is usually why I like going to shows, because I like want to watch the LED. And like even 1975, theirs was all LED as well. Like even though it was a rock concert, there was a lot going on visually to like be in like I guess
we can
inspired by.
appreciate that. We're not like just like we don't care about that. We only care about the music. Like you and I love the show part of the show.
It's like the music plus that it's like over the top. But this time it was like fully about the music, and it was so entertaining. Their band. They were just having the time of their lives. They were just so fun. There was one girl that was on the saxophone that just...
They were just vibing.
They have dance moves. They were just like having so much fun. And it like was infectious. Like there was definitely parts where I was like, well, okay, you can calm down. But like a lot of the time it was just like they're having fun. They're dancing around. I literally can't imagine the show without their energy. Like it would have been, not that it would have been boring, but
like,
it
was great. It was like
there
good.
was not much to look at.
It was a
other
good
than,
strategy
like,
because
And then just they were so good. They were just so good. They sung amazingly. which I think is something that I guess I kind of didn't expect. Like, usually I can hear the vocals in a way that doesn't feel like the original. I just felt like I was listening to the songs.
And that's what I mean about Taylor Swift. Like, it's like, dang, I forget that this is, like, you're
I'm
singing
listening to you
live.
live.
Yeah. The other thing that surprised me is because Nick was talking a lot. I'm like, why is he so Southern?
Also, so Southern, and his voice was way higher than I remember it.
I was going to say, it's like, it sounds deep and also like so Southern. I'm like, I don't remember. I don't know if I've ever heard him talk then.
But then Joe would talk and I didn't notice.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Yeah,
I
it
wish
was
Kevin
wild.
talked more.
Yeah, I wish Kevin...
I actually thought that they would get Kevin to do more crowd work
I
because of that, but
Or like, even like, it was one of the best parts of the show was... I have two things that I need to remember. The two things about the show that I really loved was... number one was when they did Jealous and Cake by the Ocean.
yes.
The crowd just...
in the middle of the set is these two songs.
Yeah, so they did their songs back to back. It went Jealous straight into Cake by the Ocean. And everyone was just, like, Jealous, everyone was singing, just, like, fully involved. And then also they, when they did Cake by the Ocean, people were, like, actually jumping. Which I
Literally
felt like
jumping
was
on
the only time I remember seeing people jump.
Yeah.
Or, like, feeling like I could jump.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just, like, the tempo was high enough. But that was really, really good. And again, like, felt like I was listening to the song.
Which I kept saying was like, this is proof that they were better apart.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
maybe that's not the thing that you want to say to everybody at your concert when
I
you're
know, I
together. But it was also funny because like they had not funny. The guitarist.
Also, Year 3000 went off.
Oh, the song. I was like, my 3000.
Your
What's
3000.
my 3000? I don't understand. Yeah,
You're
that
like
was
that baby who's like,
yeah.
we're going to Urami.
Yeah, it was so good. The guitarist from DNC was the guitarist,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And she just like did a full like solo and was like lying on the ground. It was like freaking epic.
Camp Rock was a highlight to you.
Camp Rock was a highlight, especially because Paige was there, and I was just like, I felt represented now. It was like I just loved that she was there, and it was like, this is.
Did you feel like that was your cousin?
This is the power of TikTok. Now it felt like more like the power of TikTok.
Right.
It was like, oh, like she did. This was a bit, but also like for her, it wasn't a bit.
Yeah, like she was posting videos, then Joe found it, and then...
And he was like saying at the concert, he was like, I gave a little like, trying to tease, you know? And then like finally he said, would you come and sing with us? Like just before the concert came. And she did, and she freaking killed it. She sounded, we kept talking about afterwards, like, she didn't do a demi, but she did it justice. Like she sung everything exactly. It wasn't like, you know, the person that gets up there and trying to show off their vocals. Like she did it exactly the same so everyone could sing along with her, which I was like, thank you. Like you're not trying to make this your moment. It was like, this is our moment and I get to participate in it.
Yeah.
Which was the best part about it. So love you for that, Paige.
You know what was really cute as well was I was talking to a friend. I was talking to a friend and I was like, oh, I didn't even know the Jonas Brothers were here. I was like, yeah, it was so cool. And he was like, oh, no, because he didn't realize that they had gotten back together. So he loves Jonas. He's like, yeah, I love the Jonas Brothers. So because I was saying,
Girl, they got back together in like 2018.
I know, but he was saying like, because Millie had noticed that not a lot of people were jamming out to...
Specifically the most recent
album. And so I was like, I know, like that would have been so cool. And there's such fun music. Like that's the ones that
That's the reason why we decided to go. Like I like the Jonas Brothers, but that most recent album was like me and Millie's road trip album last year.
And then it was the album that basically convinced you to do VIP pretty much. Like
yeah, for sure.
And then so I was telling him and I was like, yeah, they have this recent album. So we're talking, kind of weird that people, and he was like, yeah, I don't think they're relevant anymore. Plus I didn't even know that they were together again. So then I was like, why do you like Jonas Brothers? And he was like, yeah. And then it just proved what we were talking about, where we were kind of, I think we were talking about, people weren't as invested in the new songs, but
even,
it's because
even the Sucker album I felt like wasn't as good as obvious the middle part, I guess.
But it was because it's basically people like him who like used to watch Jonas Brothers and
So
now
they
they've
decided to
grown
go,
up and then
but
now
they didn't even think about the new albums.
Yeah.
The one last thing I want to talk about at the show is there was a girl that was in VIP that sat behind us, and it was amazing because she had like this sign that said I bet breast cancer on it, and she had like photos of her on the thing, and she was really, really cute, and she actually was with us when we had a complication with it getting out to the VIP room, but that's a whole nother story that we're not going to get into. And she was sitting behind us, and like over halfway through the show, Joe just like points over at us and goes,
He's on the far end, like
it was like a B stage.
where we were sitting. We were basically like on the side of the stage, so when they're in the main stage, we could see them. And here's the photo. But then there's also a B stage, which is like on the far end, which is farther away from us. And then that's where Joe was, and he does this moment.
You could have just said it. He just pointed over to us because she's right behind like Jay, and was like, I bet breast cancer. And then she was like, oh my God.
He noticed my sign.
He was like, oh my God, this is the best day of my life.
But it was cute because so he was saying like loving seeing your signs. I've seen some amazing ones, and then he references that. The what I was gonna say was at the start of the show when he's looking at our section, I thought, oh, he's clocked the sign. Like it looked because the way I was watching
She kept putting it down. Like yours and Lisa's heads were more in front of her thing because she kept being like this, and so the thing was like here. But I don't think you could read you could just read the first.
Yeah,
part,
I
which was,
beat
like,
or whatever. But I think earlier on in the concert he clocked the sign,
right, and
then brought it up later on. But it was such a fun show.
Our biggest complication was with vision mixing.
Yeah, because TJ and I have vision mixed before, and it's not like we've been professional vision mixers, but we know the basics.
And it was crazy. It was just like blown out footage. Specifically for me and Jay. I don't think other people really noticed, but me and Jake had to be like, oh my God.
Someone fixed
It was
the
like,
camera.
have you guys seen that TikTok where that girl, they're like two best friends and they're with another one of their friends, and she keeps saying just like out of pocket stuff, and they're like, and they're like sitting next to each other, and rather than being like, girl, what is wrong with you? They're like, yeah.
They're just hitting each other.
Yeah. Like, what the hell is this girl on? That's what it felt like. Me and Jay, like my sister's standing between us, and I'm like looking at Jay, and we're both like turning to each other and like
if we could have, I would have been like,
it's like, what is going on? Like sections of the thing that were like
probably,
blacked out,
I think
or
the
like
worst part was there was kiss cam moment. So Joe was given a camera and he was walking around the B stage like, okay guys, it's a kiss cam, and was zooming in. But some of the older cameras, I don't know if the new cameras do it still. I think it has to do with the lens as well. But when you zoom in, it gets like it closes the aperture of the lens, so it actually gets darker. So obviously with the kiss cam, you pointed at someone and you zoom in. So like he was doing the kiss cam, and it was zooming into people, and then you don't know who it's literally black on the screen.
Like, hey, look, there's people. It's a black screen. It's a black screen. And then the craziest part is, obviously it didn't really work. There was one really great moment with a dad and his little baby. Moment. And he it went on him, and then he looked at his baby and gave his baby a kiss. It was so cute. But like other than that moment, it was pretty much like, oh, people apparently kissing. I had no idea.
Yeah, you just assume that the camera's on you and start kissing.
And then they finish, and he hands it back to the like camera off guy, and we're just on this massive screen staring at his beard, like
because they hand over, and he's like on the floor,
follicles, and he's like. Like holding the thing, like not his fault. I'm like, why is the vision mix? Turn it up, bro. Change the channel.
Click away. Click
At this
away.
point, just make it black. We've already had black for the last 20 minutes. It doesn't matter. It was so funny. It was just like, oh my gosh. Oh, like it was just again. It was like we noticed because we know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure other people found it weird, but like we actually knew what was going on. I was like, there's a black screen. Yeah. This is blown out. Why does the color grading look like that?
But everything about the show is like you were talking about the sound mix, the performance.
Yeah, that was good.
Like the set was bomb. Like
again, I can't stress enough. Jonas can sing.
Okay,
everybody
kids,
and everything.
Our last story for the day brings us to a new era.
I feel like I should like sit down like I'm in therapy as you tell me this story.
Okay, you can lie down.
And just let it wash over me.
I will take us through the ReesaTeesa saga.
Don't mind me. I'm not here anymore.
I'm gonna
do a punch and zoom on Jay. I'm just gonna go to sleep as I.
We're gonna add her TikTok account
Yes.
to the description and stuff. So
give this woman money. She's
I'm gonna try.
Enough.
I have to do it really concisely, okay? So there's a lot. Like I said, it's 50 episodes, 10 minutes each. Some people were like, "Wow, this is what I've been doing for the whole weekend." I finished it in a day.
Slow.
What is that 700 hours, 800 hours.
Crazy.
Something 500 minutes. What the heck?
Okay, so you can't do maths and you don't know what Australasia is.
Okay. Oh, the series is called Who the Did I Marry? Okay. ReesaTeesa. This is this lady. She is, this is happening early 2020. I might get all the dates wrong.
This is where the story starts.
This is pre-COVID. So she is living by herself, and she is on a dating site. She's trying to find somebody, and she matches with a guy. So they're talking, and they're like really hitting it off. So she goes to meet him, and they were like, cool, we're going to meet at Cheesecake Factory. And on her way to the thing, her tire blows out. So she's like, uh-oh, what do I do? She tells him that's the thing. So she's like, oh no, I'm not going to make it. And then he says, send me your location. I will come help you. Sends him her location. So he comes and helps her. And then they're chit-chatting. And then he is there, helps her get her tire fixed. They go to Cheesecake Factory, and they have their first date, and it's great. She's basically looking for a husband, okay? And then in their conversations, it basically like, okay, we're looking for the same stuff. He's looking for a house. He's in the middle of looking for a house, and he's trying to, he wants to settle down and all this stuff. He starts telling her about his family. He's really close with his brothers, and he has some sisters, and he's been married before, and they broke up because he caught the ex-wife cheating on him with someone. Anyway, so then he kicks her out, and he still pays money and whatever. So he starts telling all this stuff. Not long after that, the lockdowns start to happen.
Right.
Okay. So then they're like, wow, we're really hitting it off. And so they're basically trying to decide, should we spend lockdown together?
Right.
Because he's looking for a house anyway. And
she has a house?
She doesn't own a house, but she also is looking for, like, eventually she when she gets married, she doesn't want to settle there. She wants to move out to a different part. So then kind of, she does mention it in the moment. And also when she's telling the story, it's in chronological order. And then he comes over to her house, and she's pretty good. Like, she's pretty okay. So then she thinks that when he first comes to her house, he's like, oh, okay, this is the spot.
Right.
So they decide that they will quarantine at
together.
her house together. And she's like, grew up as a Christian, and so like a huge part of me was like, oh my gosh, why are you living together? Oh, but also she said, even in those first few meetings, she's like, I think we're gonna marry each other.
Right.
Like, they were just so in love and just so compatible, and he was amazing and all this. So she was like, maybe blinded, whatever. So they decide to decide to live together. It's lockdowns. She was just feeling guilty because she said, grew up as a Christian, and we're not married. Why are we living together? But like, it was kind of like what made practical sense. And he also grew up Christian, and he was like, yeah, his dad was a pastor or something and started a church and all this. Okay. So then, again, I don't know all the timelines. I can't remember the timelines, but pretty much she gets pregnant. Okay.
Slay.
She gets pregnant with, I think they find out it's twins.
Slay.
Okay. So you're pregnant with twins. And then they also.
And how old are they?
Oh, I don't know. She's probably like late 30s.
Right.
Okay. And at this point, because they know they're going to get married, especially because she's pregnant now, they're like, okay, well, we need to find a house. Like, you're already looking for a house. Then they kind of decide, okay, let's just buy a house together. So they start looking for houses, and then they're like, they're finding these bougie ass houses, or like these really, really good houses. And they look, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is the dream house and whatever. And there are many instances of this, but pretty much like they will say, yeah, we got it. Oh, like, we're gonna buy this house. And then he's like, don't worry, I got you, girl. And because he was a really high employee at his work, so he was working for a company that she never named, and he was like in a high position. And so he's like, yeah, oh, good, I got the money. And he was also saying he used to play professional sport, and he's retired, but because she didn't know much about that sport, so she's like, okay, cool, nice. And he's like, yeah, I got some money put away. We got this. I can buy us a house. All this. Cool. It's going to be great. So then, so they're looking for houses, but it keeps falling through. And then they're working with realtors, and then either the realtors are dropping them or whatever. And he's like, or like he will say like, don't worry, I know someone, he's gonna sort it out for us, and then it would fall through, like all this stuff. Unfortunately, she miscarries, So she loses the baby or babies. Sorry, I can't remember if it was twins or not. So she loses the baby,
Twins would be great.
and she has to get surgery, because of it, and
Right, because of the miscarriage.
yeah, and he pretty much says there is a very important meeting. He's about to get promoted. He's not going to be able to go. He's like, would you like me to get like my sister to come? Like, can I get my cousin to come with you? And she's like, I don't know your cousin. Like, obviously I would want you to be there. I don't know your cousin. I'd rather take my friend. So she takes her friend. And so she, she gets the surgery. So he's not there for
Unraveling is beginning.
Yeah, the unraveling is beginning. She calls him the United Nation of red flags because there's so many flags in many countries. So then the house buying saga continues, and then it gets to the point where she's like, what is happening? Like, they're working with different realtors, and even the people that are selling the house, he's like, I'll pay for it in cash. And then they're like, no, we don't want to do that or whatever. Or like, cool, we'll give it to you, but we just need to see proof of funds. And he was like, I'll show you proof of funds if you do it. And then their realtor is like, I don't know why.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know why he doesn't just show. It's like, it's so easy. Just
And you need a house.
just show the thing and it'll be fine. But the realtors are like, okay, sorry, but my client like really wants to do this. Okay. It gets to the point where ReesaTeesa is like, girl, I don't even want you to talk to me about houses. I'm done right now. Please, let's move on. In the midst of all this, he is also saying, hey, I got a promotion. I'm going to buy you a car because I'm getting a car. I don't want my girl to be riding around on this whatever car. So they start looking for cars. And it becomes a meme basically because he starts telling her about all these cars and she falls in love with a blue BMW with cognac interiors. Loves it. So then, for example, they'll say, oh, we just need this much down payment. And then he's like, oh, okay, let me just check with the finance crew that this is actually locked in. So he goes on the phone in the car dealer. He goes on the phone next to her and he's like, hey, just want to check that. It's like, cool. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so tomorrow. Great, cool. Yeah, so tomorrow. Great. So anyway, then it falls through again. And this is a cycle where she will test drive cars. She's test driven so many cars. It got to the point where she's like, bruh, buy me whatever you like.
Just buy me a car.
Just buy me a car. I don't even really care. Like, just do whatever.
Give me a lemon.
But then a part of her is also like, when he's like, girl, I got you. Like, here's a cool thing. She's like, excited.
I want the cool thing.
Yeah. And what she was saying was like, his game was probably that he liked watching her get excited and that he had the power to take it away.
Frick.
Okay. So then work changes. He becomes VP of a department. Okay. VP of production or something for his company. And so he's meant to have the money. He's paying. Oh, the way that they've also set it up is like since they moved in, like he's paying the bills and she's doing like the food or groceries or whatever. So he's got money. Okay. Reesa's just doing her own thing, but he would be on the phone. It was never on loudspeaker, but he would be like, "Hey, John, like, oh, what are you guys up to tonight? Oh, cool. You guys, you go out with this person, da da da." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm just here with Reesa," and be like, "Oh, John says hi." She's like, "Hi, John. Tell him how's the kids." It's like, oh yeah, kids are good. So then there's a lot of those back and forth, and that happened for like about a year. Okay, so he makes and he does that.
She's never met him.
She's never met him because of where he lives, and also because it was COVID. And then he also has really good friends, so he's like calling them throughout the time, and he always like leaves and comes back home at the same time every day. So he goes to work. Okay. Proof of funds is a thing, and it's really one of the things that really stuffs them up because she's like, just show them, like in her mind, just freaking show them the proof of funds. Like, why is it so hard? Okay. At one point, they deal with a woman realtor. They're ready to buy a house again. And ReesaTeesa basically says that this woman kind of like was really pivotal because without really saying like, girl, you got to leave him, one of the phone calls they had was, it was kind of like related to proof of funds, but she was basically saying, hey, I've got your back. Whether you decide to buy a house with him or without him, I would like to continue to represent you. I think you're great. And that really kind of stuck with her because she was like, oh, this must not be a good thing. Then ReesaTeesa either gets a new job. I think she gets a new job. And her new job, they have to do a background check. And the background check includes the spouses. So she said, hey, I need your social security number. So, and then also they've since gotten married, but they get married in a courthouse. On their marriage certificate, he puts his social security number. She notes it and she looks him up and nothing comes up.
Okay.
So then they do a background check. She's like, I need you to fill this in. He fills it in. Social security number different from the marriage certificate. And so she's like, oh, weird. But it comes up that this social security number is attached to basically anywhere you start to work, it will log where you've been. So when you have your social security number, it tells you, oh yeah, you got to live in California. He said he lived in California a long time, and that when they met, he had just moved back from California.
Okay.
He's never been to California or worked in California. Okay. So social security number is saying never been to California. Okay. Never worked there. 2 ex-wives. And the name of the ex-wife is different from what he said to her.
Both of them.
One of them. So one she recognizes, the other one she doesn't. I think that might have been how it is. And then anyway, so she manages to find a phone number, a contact number. So she calls the ex-wife and she said, if you're calling me, then it's bad.
This is the wife.
This is the ex-wife. She said, everything he says to you is a lie. And is basically like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. And so she's like able to say some of the stuff. And she's like, is it true that this, like, you cheated on him? And she was like, no. So she basically debunks bunch of stuff that he said. Okay.
Yeah.
Now there's another wife. I'm confused where that kind of comes in. Okay. And then other things that he does is they're driving around that building over there behind that we own it. And I park my work car there. And
okay, so then she goes there, no work car.
no, and then she's like, should we go see? Okay. And then he's like, you want to see my office? And she's like, yeah, I'd love to see your office. And he was like, yeah, okay, cool. Let me just call security to check that there's someone because it's the weekend and my fob, I'm not sure if it's going to work. So she calls. She's like, hey,
And he's like, oh, Friday.
It's like, hey, Neil, yeah, I want to come in. I want to show the missus. And it's like, oh, you're not working. Cool. Is thing working? Oh, is this person working? Da, da, da.
A liar.
Okay, cool. Will my fob work? And it's like, nah. Okay, cool. Nah, fob won't work. And then they just drive away. At some point, some old knee injury, he said it was a sports injury, starts to really stuff him up.
Right.
And he gets really sick and can barely walk, and he starts losing weight and all this. So the ex-wife has 2 kids, and he said he was really close with the kids. So he said that the ex-wife's young daughter died of COVID. So can he have $2,000 to, just to provide for the family? And she's like, I don't mess around with death. Like, yeah. Eventually she gets that call with a wife. And so they're just chatting. And then she has this thought. She said, how's your daughter? And the wife says, she's doing good. Why? And she's like, oh, good. Okay, so the daughter didn't die.
Not only she didn't die, but she probably was never freaking sick.
About a year now, okay? She confronts him, and it's like so intense. Like, she's like, okay, I don't know who this man is. Like, who the heck confronts him? And she basically tells him to get out of the house. He's really sick. He can barely walk now. It's gotten to the point where he's just like drinking Gatorade and can barely move around the house. I think he stopped going to work pretty much, or has taken sick leave, whatever. So she tells him to get out. And then he's like, what is happening? And then he calls his auntie, and he's like, she's trying to kick me out of the house. And then the auntie's like, please, can we talk? She calls her mom, and she said, as he's calling his auntie, he said, I don't know what she's saying. I've never, ever lied to her. And that really flicked the switch, because she's like, I know for a fact that you've lied to me. And she never even brought up the ex-wife. She's never said that I talked to her. Like, I'm going to keep your name out of it. But she's like, I know that this is what you did. I know you never lived here. Da, 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 da. Kick him out. And she said, in that moment, I just felt like I was going to hurt him. And she said, you need to get out. And then.
Oh, like kill her.
Huh?
So it was like, I'm just gonna hurt him, like emotionally.
No, she's like,
I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, I could potentially murder you.
Yeah.
So she gets him to go out, and then the auntie on the phone is like, I think you just need to leave, whatever. I think her mom was on the phone as well. Oh, also, she's never told any of her friends, because she's like, I think what happens in a marriage should stay in a marriage. So she's like, keeping it between themselves. So kicks him out. He goes. Then she's like, take away all this stuff, take away. So he's like, within an hour, he's out. He's packing all his stuff. Yeah. And she realizes that the Gatorade stuff that she's been taking to him, she's like, I thought that he only just sometimes moves, but the Gatorade bottles are full of liquid.
He's been peeing.
He's been peeing in the Gatorade bottles. Crazy. A few days later, a number calls her.
His cousin.
Yeah, and then basically introduces, hi, I'm his cousin. And it's like, hi, we're just calling because he said that you're his wife. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, we've never heard of you. So I just wanted to check like who you are, what's happening. Because he's telling us that he caught you cheating and you were so angry that you kicked him out. And that you cheated on him with a cop. And that the cop is using his power to kind of blah, 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 blah. And he's kicked him out and whatever. And so she's like, oh my God. And then the cousin's like, I just wanted to check because this guy has been lying his whole life and we don't super trust him, but he's family. So it's like he wants to live in our, he's asking the family, like, can I sleep on your couches, whatever. My wife kicked me out. So I just wanted to check, like, are you real? And so then finally she has someone that she can help verify certain things. So she asks him questions and she's like, so what happened to his sisters? And he's like, what sisters? And Reesa knows, like, this one sister has this husband and this is his job and they've got 2 little kids and there's another sister that lives here and da-da-da-da. And then he's like, have you talked to his brothers? And then the cousin says, brothers? Like, how many brothers do you think he has? She's like, 3.
1.
And he's like, well, so she goes, there's 3. This one. And she's like, no, well, there's the twin. And she's like, excuse me? He's a twin. He has a twin. So she files for divorce, finds out he has 1 brother and a twin brother. Okay, and then this one brother, there's 2 brothers plus him, and and also in the midst of all of this, she finds out that where the parents were and all this. And anyway, when he said that his either grandma or his mom died during COVID, the people that he said died during COVID died like years ago.
Oh, right. So they died, but just not.
Yeah. And he would like either ask for money or whatever. And it's just really weird. She files for divorce. And then she's like, I want it to happen straight away. So she pretty much is like, let's meet at the post office. You sign and then whatever. She meets him. And this is maybe like a week later. And she sees like he's lost weight. He used to be like XXX. And now he's like maybe XL. He's lost so much weight. And she's like, he's still wearing the same clothes that he did when I kicked him out. And his car looked like it's packed in a way that he's living in it. Right. Okay. Sign the divorce papers. And she's like, he didn't read it. He just signed it. And in the divorce papers, it says, anything that you've left in my possession, in my house, because the house is hers still, anything you've left in my house is mine. So then, because he signed it, she goes home and she finds this briefcase that he has. And there's so many documents there, like pay stubs and things like that. Basically, she finds out that he was never VP. He was, what thing that lifts pallets?
Yeah. Forklift.
Forklift driver.
Different type of nuisance.
Not a VP. He's just like a floor worker. And that he got fired. And all the places that he said he worked, obviously he didn't work. He said he had a work phone. It wasn't a work phone. It was just a second phone that he was pretending it was for work. So she was seeing all the texts, like all these different texts and stuff there.
Oh, so he was cheating on her as well.
He was cheating on her as well.
What? Why does anyone want to be with this man?
Then the cousin said, you should talk to the brother because he's going to be able to tell you, like, I don't know what
actual information
on about, like, you should call the brother. So she has a phone call with the brother who Legion has been having conversations with every morning. So she's like, yeah, I know him. She basically checks and the brother's like, what did he do? I haven't talked to him since 2015 when their mom died.
Oh my God.
And it's like,
oh my
what
God.
do you mean? And she's like, you talk to him every morning. And he's like, have you heard me talk to him every morning? And he's like, no, like, this is what happens. And he's like, I think he's been talking to himself. He will talk for 30 to 45 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
So she's saying, he says hello, and it's just him talking to an empty phone.
Okay. Yes. Talking to an empty phone. Oh my God. And he said that's why the other brother doesn't even talk to him, the twin. The twin is a VP. The twin has all this, and he lived in California and whatever.
So he's been pretending to have his brother's life.
He's been like taking his brother's life.
Wait, so he's talking to the other brother, not the twin?
No.
She's talking to the other brother.
It's kind of like with the oldest brother, but not the right. Yeah, so not the twin. Twin is not even contacted by him. Anyway, so this is crazy. Then the aunt that he's been saying that she has met, they're like, oh, so how about this, the aunt? And then the brother says, oh, we don't with her. It's like, what do you mean? Yeah, that's my mom's best friend. She's like kind of basically an enabler or whatever.
Yeah.
That we're not related to her. I don't know her. But she's the one that ReesaTeesa has met. Okay? She's the one that was on the phone when they were getting kicked out.
It's the one that has allowed him to go.
Yeah.
Like, kept him in the circle, I guess.
So they have a big... so she has a big conversation with her brother. Anyway, then eventually the aunt / mom's best friend calls her and is like, hey, I just wanted to check in. How are you guys doing? Because he's asking if he can live with me.
Okay.
He's asking if he can live with me. So I just wanted to check in on how you guys are doing, like, marriage things. And she was like, oh, no, we're divorced. Like, I've filed for divorce. And it hasn't clicked in yet. Like, I think it's like 31 days before it's like becomes official. She was like kind of just checking in on him. And she was like, oh, yeah, because I've been talking to him. And, so what's going to happen with a baby? With a kid. And then she's like, what kid? And she's like, well, he's been coming to visit that town, which ReesaTeesa was like, no idea that he was doing that. Was like, he's been coming over here.
He probably has all the time in the world because he doesn't have a great job.
And was basically saying like, he's been coming over and we've been telling him, me and our friends have been saying, you should bring the baby. And he's like, yeah, definitely. I need to bring her over and and hasn't been able to. At this point, the baby is meant to be like over a year old. Okay. And, because they announced to her that she was pregnant and stuff, and was like, oh, she's like, no, we don't, I lost the baby and whatever. And she's like, oh, because he was saying that, like, you guys were separating, but that he would bring the baby. And she was like, there's no baby.
I don't have a child.
Yeah. Okay. Then,
crazy.
About a couple of weeks after he signs the divorce papers, he stops messaging her. And so she's like, where has he gone? Like, a part of her was like, did he die? Like, what is happening? No one's heard of him. Okay. So then she's like, decides, I'm going to look up the people that he's ever mentioned to me just to be like, maybe they know, maybe he's gone over to those people. So she calls, she's like, everyone that he's talked about in the last year and a half, I've contacted. Pretty much every single one of them says, he's a liar. I don't want anything to do with me. Do not call me. I don't care if he's dead in a ditch. She's actually so sad because she was like, this guy, he could be like, she's the only one that's looking for him. Everyone else is like, I don't care where he is. And these are the names that he said we're bros. Some of these people are people he's been on the phone to being like, yeah, bro, what are you up to tonight? Okay. Eventually she finds him. He's checked himself to a hospital just so he can stop sleeping in his car. So like, just so that he can have a bed.
But doesn't he not have any money?
In a hospital, not a hotel.
Yeah, no, but he doesn't have any money. In
America
America is the worst.
I don't know what.
Basically, a hotel is cheaper.
Oh, and also throughout this, by the way, she was like, because he was like, I'll tell you anything. Like, what do you, before all this, and he's like, I'll tell you. And then she's like, okay, show me this account. He's like, cool, okay, cool. Logs into his thing, shows her, and then she's like, show me this other account. And then she's like, you said you have an offshore thing that you keep your sports money in, and he's like, oh, I can't show you that. So that one, they've like basically reached an impasse because she's like, I'm not going to try and buy a house with you until you show me this. And he never really shows her. So that kind of got stuck. And then basically after the 2 weeks, so he stays in the hospital for 2 weeks. He comes out and then she's like, someone must have given him some sort of advice because they basically said, until you guys are officially divorced, you still have rights to the house that you're dwelling together. Okay. So she can't actually kick you out because you guys are married. So since that point, he is calling her 30 times an hour, basically every hour. Like he says, I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to come to the house. And so he's like, I'm going to come to the house. And obviously she starts to get scared because she's like, he could be here at any point. And at this point, she's not very far off from the 30 days of their divorce being official. And so I think she calls the police and just basically says, I'm scared of him, like, I just want some sort of protection. And they said, we can't really do anything because he's actually right. Like, he can still come to your house.
Crazy.
So crazy. So then she's like, please. And then, like, the main, like, a key officer is like, I'm so sorry. Like, we'll see what we can do. So then they kind of look him up. He's saying, I'm coming to you tomorrow. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Like, he's basically saying all this stuff. So she's saying he's going to be here tomorrow. Like, please, can I just have some sort of help? And then they realize that he has a warrant out for his arrest. So they said, if he comes to your property, call us and we can do stuff.
Basically arrest him.
Okay. So she's in a work car. She's in a new job. She's in a work car and she's driving home. She sees his car parked in the front. And so she's like, okay, I'm just going to drive past, park near here and then watch him. And I'm going to call the cops to tell them. They arrive. He comes out. They arrest him. And he says, can I just talk to her? And then he said something like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll do whatever you want. Da, 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 da. So he's groveling. Okay.
Idiot.
Then he gets arrested and they take his possessions from him. So like keys and wallet and whatever goes on the top of the car. And then they take him away. And she was like, I don't want anything of him in my house. And obviously his car's on my driveway.
Yep.
She calls the tow truck. They tow the truck away. That's all theirs now. The next day, the tow truck I think might have come the next day or whatever it was. The next day she gets an email, divorce is finalized.
As in, she still had a couple of things, but they sped it up because he's in jail?
No, like as in, it was the time.
Right.
And it got formalized. And within the day, she changed the locks.
Crazy.
And all this stuff. Got all his stuff out of his house. His car's been towed away.
So by the time he found out that he still had rights to the thing, he was like basically running out of time.
Yeah, basically running out of time. And by the way, when he came to her house, he was wearing the same clothes, and now he looks like he's a medium. She's like, I do not, and he stank.
So he's probably not eating.
Yeah.
But then why wouldn't they like do anything at the hospital? I guess they don't have to.
I don't know what he kind of admitted himself for. And then it just so happened that around that time as well, because her lease was going to finish in August or something. And so she was like, I've got a house. I'm going to move anyway. And so that's what she was saying to the cops, like, please just help me because I need to move in 2 weeks, like, whatever. And they're not able to help her. And it all just kind of ended up working out. And she finds out as well. So they arrest him. But then they find out that the warrant had actually expired. So when they went to arrest him, it was not illegal. But because then they find out that it was expired warrant or something, so they had to release him. So she finds out, and I don't know if he was the one who texted her, but she finds out that he's being released. So she's like calling the locksmith and whatever, and she's like, he's gonna be angry, he's gonna come to me. So she had already lined up. It might not have been the next day, maybe a week later or something. She has movers organized, and she tells them the situation. They move her out in 2 hours, and she's got she's got her house, and she's like, nothing that is his is in my house. I don't want anything. I got new plates, new bed, new everything, and I donated them.
This is the new house that
she's like, and I don't have anything that reminds me of him, and his stuff I donated to what is it called, like
a Goodwill.
Places where people will go to if they've been in an abusive relationship.
Oh, right.
Something like that. And including his car. Like, his car would have gone to the pound, whatever. Pound? That's for dogs.
I think there's a car pound as well.
Yeah, so that's the ReesaTeesa story.
I feel so happy for her. Wait, so this had how long by the time we catch up to the, I guess, most recent part of the story? How long between then and real life time?
This was probably middle of 2021.
Is the end of the story?
Yeah. And she was saying, I think God was telling me not to go by blowing out my tires. And, but no, I was too, she was like, yeah, here's my location. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's
crazy. Wow. Okay. What a ride this episode was. Yeah, that's all that we have for this week. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Please, if you have any thoughts on any part of this episode, whether it's about the ReesaTeesa situation, about Taylor Swift situation, literally anything, please jump in the comments. We love having you here, and yeah, can't wait to see you for more reactions, more other things, and for more podcasts.
Yes.
Have fun in the Philippines, Jay.
See you later.